Everyone knows the Lexus RX, from the original RX 300 to the brand new 500h F-Sport Performance. These are all fabulous SUVs, and really, when Lexus introduced the hybrid version of the RX, it really flipped the SUV world upside down. Nowadays, everything is a freaking hybrid, so there really isn't anything special. But today, we have one of the pioneers of hybrid SUVs, the Lexus RX 450h. So we're gonna get up close and personal and learn a little bit more about Lexus's electrified RX of the 2010s. So hello and welcome to the RX 450h. This marks the third generation of Lexus's wonderful RX. We've been able to take a look at the second gen RX, and there will be many more RX videos in the future, so certainly stay tuned for that. But these third gens went from 2010 to 2015. They were first introduced to the US market in late 2009 for the 2010 model year at the LA Auto Show. Now, for my own nerdy purposes, I do want to save the official third gen RX review for another video, but I did want to go a little bit into some of the background of these things. First of all, of course, the 450h was the top shebang of the RX back in the day, but in other markets, you could get a Lexus RX 270, which featured the Highlander-derived 2.7-liter four-cylinder. Lexus introduced this model to these markets to combat some of the taxes related to displacement with engines. I really cannot believe such a refined car with an unrefined engine, but that's what they got. Thankfully though, we only got the 350 and the 450h in America. All of the third gen RXs were either built in Miyawaka, Fukuoka, Japan, or in Cambridge, Ontario. For anyone wondering, these are based on Toyota's K platform, so it's very similar to the Toyota Sienna, the Toyota Highlander, the Toyota Camry, the Toyota Avalon, the Toyota Venza, and other mid-sized Toyota products of the mid-2000s and the late 2000s like this one. Of course, the platform isn't identical, but it's just like how Toyota uses different platforms on different models today. In this time in history, Toyota and Lexus were thankfully willing to use V6 engines with their hybrid combinations to make actually fun to drive and reliable vehicles. I was very surprised to learn though that not only Toyota but Lexus and Tesla themselves actually collaborated for a little bit and wanted to develop an electric RX. This was actually as early as the late 2000s, but of course we never got the electric RX that Toyota wanted. They did, however, come up with a full electric SUV, the Toyota RAV4 EV, which was a Toyota, but it used all the running gear of a Tesla, of course co-developed. Also, just like other Toyota and Lexus hybrids, they want you to know that you're in the hybrid version, but subtly. You'll have blue accents on the headlights, the grille, like the Lexus emblem on the front grille, and also the Lexus emblem on the back. The taillights have a little bit of a blue tint, and you'll also see more, well, a little bit more chrome pieces that say hybrid on this. But otherwise, it looks just like a normal RX. I do have to say, I'm very happy that I was finally able to find an actual 450h, not the four-cylinder one like nowadays. This one is a 2012 Lexus RX 450h in black opal mica. This one, of course, also has the ever so common premium package that a lot of 450s will have. And again, special thanks to my friends at Oarsman Volvo VW of Bethesda, Maryland. That's who this car belongs to, and if I'm not mistaken, it's actually for sale on their lot. This thing has about 135,000 miles on it, and even though it isn't the cleanest RX that I have seen, I have certainly seen a lot worse. As for a 2012 450h, you could choose between front-wheel drive for $45,265 or the all-wheel drive for $46,865. Those were the base prices, but Lexus offered a million different option packages that were very nice and actually added desirable options. Just because I don't want to have to do it many times, I'm going to read them from my phone. You could get the Comfort package for $800. the rear entertainment and navigation package for $5,000, the luxury package for $4,800, the towing prep package for $300, the premium package for $2,400, and the F-Sport package for $6,000. Of course, you couldn't combine all the option packages together. Some were allowed and some weren't, but you could, if you wanted to, get your 2012 RX to $60,000 quite easily. Regardless to whatever trim or option packages you would choose for your RX, you could only choose two powertrains in the United States and Canada. Either the RX 350, which is an already fabulous SUV, or the more powerful 450h. And of course, because it's Lexus and not Honda at the time, when we're talking about V6 hybrids, we're not just talking about extra performance. The fuel economy is a big reason you get the 450h. Under the hood of this bad boy is not the normal 2GR FE from the normal RX 350 and Highlanders and ESs and everything else that use the 2GR. This, because it's the 450h, uses the 2GR FXE. It's still a 3.5 liter V6, dual overhead cams, but now it's on the Atkinson cycle and it's running on 0W20 oil, which is thinner, and it's supposed to be a little bit more efficient as well, giving this all-wheel drive model 30 miles a gallon combined. Lexus says 30 in the city and 28 on the highway. You get a little bit better MPGs in the city, primarily because this thing will try its best to run in electric mode as much as possible. Again, this isn't a plug-in hybrid system though. This uses Toyota and Lexus's hybrid drive system of the mid and late 2000s. Because this one is an all-wheel drive 450h, it has two electric motors up front, which only gave it an additional 22 horsepower, and then it has another electric motor in the back to power the rear wheels. So the V6 engine only powers the front wheels. The total system output for this 3.5 V6 and the 3 electric motors is 295 horsepower and an undisclosed amount of torque. But the normal RX 350 makes 248 pound-feet of torque, so I would imagine it's either the same or a little bit more because of the electric motors. It can't be less because it feels a little punchier. This whole hybrid concoction, of course, is paired to a CVT. Because it's Lexus, these really don't have any problems. Of course, because they're hybrids, you will deal with battery degradation issues as time goes on, especially with 200, 300, or 400,000 miles. But exactly, you could get 200, 300, or 400,000 miles without blinking in this car. Of course, there will be some oddballs that may have faulty battery packs, but most of these bone solid and really tested. The 3.5 runs with a timing chain. Again, it uses 020 oil in this example. Oh my goodness. But really the main thing that you have to watch out for is the battery. And if you're looking at buying one of these, good choice, but also to make sure that the battery isn't dead, the easiest thing to do is sit in this thing while it's idling, key on and it's running, and just watch to see if the hybrid battery will drop charge or not. Well, how fast it does. If it drops charge in minutes, it's bad. This third generation RX sits at 187.8 inches long, making it a hair shorter than my Volvo XC90 at 189 inches long, and it's a little bit shorter than the BMW X5 and Acura MDX, which are 191 inches long. This one, because it has the premium package for the 450h, is riding on these 19-inch alloy wheels. However, most of these third gens that you'll see will have the smaller 5-spoke 18-inch wheels. Damn it! I do really like how the 19s look though. They really class up the joint. Around back, you can really see the difference in mindset between Toyota and Lexus back then and Toyota and Lexus nowadays. The first thing I will say though, I find it interesting with vehicles from this era. This has a power tailgate, but if you just click it like this, well, if you just open it with your hand here, it just opens manually, and that's just normal. The MDX does that. But if I take out the key fob, which this one has the smart key, It can open with power, but it just doesn't let you do it with that, even though that's a button. This power tailgate reveals a very usable 40 cubic feet of volume. Even though this thing is a hybrid, the battery pack does not interfere with the trunk. And the second row seat is a 40-20-40 split seat, so you can drop it flat and then get 80 cubic feet of volume. The hybrid battery is actually underneath the second row seat. I know the sizes of batteries matter too, but this is just actually smart. Also, I really like this thing because even though this is a hybrid, it still has a spare tire. And if you want to tow with one of these, Lexus says you can tow 3,500 pounds with your 450h. I'm pretty sure just all of these RXs should tow 3,500 pounds. Now, of course, the RX is a two-row SUV. In 2012, if you wanted a three-row Lexus, you'd have to go for the GX or the LX, but you still get an abundance of second row space because I'm 5'9", and the driver's seat is actually all the way back in its easy exit mode, and I still have legroom. The two outboard seats slide fore and aft for more space, but I am really comfortable. The material of the seat itself is very soft and comfortable. I really love the quality of Lexus leather back in the day. It doesn't feel like new Lexus leather. The door cards in the back are nice and soft. Every touch point in this vehicle feels nice. There's also two air vents back here, but we don't have a third climate control zone. We have a nice center armrest here, which is, you know, on the softer side. And then there's a little compartment underneath that. And then also two cup holders, which are thankfully on the larger side for rear seat cup holders. Otherwise, there's not too much back here. You could get an RX with rear entertainment in the headrest. This one doesn't have that, clearly.
Toyota is turning the truck world upside down with a new generation Toyota 4x4. An all-new truck designed to give you more room and more comfort. Yet tough enough and rugged enough to take on anything it can put its four wheels on. The 1984 Toyota 4x4s, now an even tougher act to follow.
Oh, 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 what a feeling, Toyota.
As we now enter the driver's seat of the RX, welcome to the interior of the third gen. First of all, let me get the key fob out of my pocket here. This is the key fob. This was Lexus's key fob back in the day. I really like this key fob. It just reminds me of the good old days. You just have the lock, unlock, trunk release, and panic button. This one, of course, because of the smart key, has push button start, so we can just keep this anywhere inside the vehicle and push the power button to go. I really do miss the sound of older Toyotas, just the chime and how much more mechanical they feel, just like real cars. But again, welcome to the interior of the RX. If you're used to RXs, the older RXs, you really won't feel like you're in something too foreign. Everything is laid out pretty much how it's been since 1999. But it's not necessarily a bad thing because, of course, things have been refined throughout the years. First of all, we can talk about the lovely steering wheel. Of course, it has wood trim on it, the walnut wood. It's real wood trim as well. It's 3-spoke, leather wrapped. In this model, it's not heated. It's okay, you know, it's 2012. It would have been really nice, though. The steering has a really nice weight to it at lower speeds. It's very easy to drive. It's very quiet. This is just an extremely refined SUV. We can see how this 295 horsepower is. Wow, I haven't pushed my foot all the way down until now. Wow. It's actually more powerful than I thought. We have an RX 400h in the family that you will see soon enough. I've been meaning to make a video of that. And that one has nice, strong, smooth acceleration, but this is even better, even more refined. I don't necessarily know if I want to deal with this nonsense, so I'm gonna go this way. We can see how these smaller neighborhood roads are. If you're recognize this area. Welcome back, I guess. But it's just, the RX is just a really nice driver. That's why people love these. I love these. All types of people can hop in and just get going. Old people, young people, smart people, stupid people. Everyone drives RXs. It's just a really refined experience. It's very quiet. There's minimal road noise. And especially because this one is the 450h, it barely uses the gas engine at lower speeds, unless if you're really giving it some throttle input. Otherwise, you know, it's very quiet. I really like how it puts its power down. You know, this is the CVT, so it's a weirder experience, I'm sure, audibly, but it's very smooth. There's no delay. It's good. You don't feel a jerk from the electric motors. Even in 2012, things were pretty refined. I don't want to get too distracted though. The steering wheel does have buttons on it. On the left side, those buttons mainly control the audio functions like volume and tuning. The buttons on the right control the Bluetooth functions and also some of the configurations in the small information display in the gauges. Otherwise, not much going on the steering wheel. Toyota does include the classic stock down off of the wheel. Let's see passing power now. People are dumb. It gets to speed quick. You know, it's more entertaining than some of the electric cars that I've been driving recently. It's because it has a real engine. I've not smiled from a new, well, this isn't a new car, but I've just not smiled from a world-saving vehicle in a while, you know? The brakes are typical Toyota hybrid brakes. You feel they're just kind of on the mushier side, but they're not awful. They're thankfully better than the older hybrid system brakes. A little bit more linear. We can pop in the neighborhood and I can continue to talk about the interior of this thing. Right now I'm looking at the gauges and I do like how they're very simple, very easy to read. Of course, because this is the 450h, they are different because this one doesn't have a normal tachometer. It has a power and charge gauge instead, so you can see if this is using or saving power, which is nice. Nice neighborhood, by the way. The engine is really quiet. I really appreciate the refinement of this car. Did I just stumble upon a new park? Oh, it's very small anyway. We can see how the turning circle is though, I guess. These BMW drivers. Let's see. It's not extremely tight. In reverse, you can see this does have a backup camera. No 360 view camera though in the RX. It is very easy to park though, this one, because it has the premium package, has parking sensors and, you know, well, that's it, parking sensors and the camera, but that's all you need. It takes speed bumps well. It's just an all-around great SUV. Behind the steering wheel, we do have the headlight controls on the left side. They are automatic, as well as the wiper controls on the right side, and thankfully those are also automatic. Continuing behind the wheel on the left side underneath the left air vent, there is a nice little cup holder. So it is kind of like a thermally controlled cup holder, which is fun. I appreciate that all the controls in this thing just make sense, like where the mirror controls are and the window switches. Again, all four windows are auto up and down. Very big mirrors to look out of too. Visibility is great. These are, you know, I know now they're old enough you could consider giving your kid an RX of this era. It's a good car as a first car. It gets to 60 quick. It's quicker than an RX needs to be. That's what I like a lot. We can look at the display in the middle here. Yeah, we have a little bit of time to wait. In the center, we have the main infotainment system for the 450 and 350. It is not touchscreen like modern Lexuses. Thankfully, we can see how the turning circle is. My XC90 just barely does this. This one has a little bit less problems. It's good! I mean, it's not fast, but I'm enjoying my time. Now back to the screen. I really am not that crazy about it. I'm gonna go this way. I'm really not that crazy about it because you have to rely on this mouse pad. Wow. Under harder braking, you do have to give it a little bit more than you would think. But I just am not crazy about this Lexus N-Form trackpad, but it is what it is. I've gotten used to it. It takes not too long to get used to the controls of it, thankfully, so it's not like ridiculously useless, but it can be pretty distracting. By now, if you really want to, you could probably put in a CarPlay dongle. I don't know what high school I'm at. Oh, this is Whitman. Oh, interesting. If you go to school here, this is your school. You're probably like, oh no, go away. But, see, I got distracted again. At normal speeds, of course, it's very smooth. The transition between EV to gas mode, it's really not noticeable at all. I can tell it's an upgrade or improvement compared to the 400h. This really just feels like a whole other level of refinement, which I do appreciate. You can also see this has dual zone climate control underneath here. Very easy, not too many buttons because, of course, Lexus wants you to use the screen a little bit when you control it. But thankfully, more of the frequently used buttons are accessible. I really don't move around in the seats too much. I've been quite satisfied, not only with comfort and support, like even my thighs are well supported, my back and shoulders have good support. It's all around just a good seat. These seats are heated and ventilated, by the way, too, and they both work quite well. I just like listening to the 2GR2. You know, putting it through semi-corners. It handles well. The RXs handle well. They're not sporty, but they just hold the road prestigiously in all weather conditions too. These things are pretty good in the snow. There's the older RX. That's why I just love the RX. There's nothing to complain about. The transition from electric to gas is pretty seamless. The only time that I notice it is when I'm slowing down and I'm on the brake, because when the gas engine shuts off, I notice you have to push the pedal a little bit more. That's just something with hybrids though. To wrap things up, because I could really just ramble about this car all day long, the RX, especially the 3rd gen, is a really competent SUV. All of these that I see are over $10,000. So the 2nd gen RXs are definitely more affordable. They are still kind of up there, especially for a nicer one, but these will certainly be over $10,000. It does handle well. I really do like that. And it drives well. You really won't have anything to be upset about in an RX besides the other people that are around you while you're driving. And that, my friends, concludes our time with Lexus's 2012 RX 450h. It really is a great SUV. I have an immense respect for the Lexus RX, so I'm very glad that I was able to properly experience a 3rd gen RX. Let me know in the comments if you have one of these RXs and how it's treated you. I'm very glad that we were able to reminisce today. Enough of me rambling though. Thanks for hanging out, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye peeps.